See the Dr. Joe difference at stlmedweightloss.com.
All right, good morning. Welcome to the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. Frank Cusimano, Jill Farmer, Connor McCarthy. We're here till 12 o'clock. We got a good one lined up for you today. We can continue our theme of the movers and shakers in St. Louis week with Steve Shankman the other day. And then yesterday,
we had
goodness.
Michael Steinberg. It was.
And now Bob O'Loughlin.
Yeah, and all three of them, I think the thing that you can't listen to them without feeling a little pride in who we are, who's leading the growth and change and moving the ship back in a positive direction for our region. And so I'm grateful to have been in their presence this week because I feel a renewed sense of purpose and shared mission, and I think it's the right direction.
I think for the first time today, and we will, full disclosure, we did just interview Bob. We taped the interview because he had a meeting. But for the first time, I thought to myself, you know what? Downtown could actually have a future. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're going to listen to him, folks, and I want you to listen closely. I'm telling you, he is going to make downtown great again. He really is. And that's the common denominator of all three of these guys. A, optimism, and B, giving back. Mm-hmm. You know, because there's other things that Bob O'Loughlin could be doing probably to make more money, but he wants to make the city he came to 4 decades ago.
And I'm going to add a C, collaboration. There's the thing that they say has been to our detriment almost since the beginning of time, but it's really reared its head in the last 20 years, is the idea of, I'm going to take care of my own little thing here, my own little municipality, my own little interest, whatever I do, and I'm not going to care about anything else. These guys are all thinking big, and they're thinking big with our leadership, with our political leadership, as well as from a business sense of saying, no, we got to do this together because, rising water lifts all ships. We cannot do this individually or we're going to all sink.
And I think they're practical, too, especially Bob in today's conversation. Just to think that, I know some of you out there are thinking, there's no way downtown is ever going to come back because it's not safe. Well, if you add 20 cops, it can get safe. And he knows that. And that's why I really thought for the first time after the interview, hey, we got a shot.
And that's where visionary business leaders don't just think one thing at a time. They're like, how do we make this long-term bigger? How do we rise around trends? We heard that from Michael Steinberg yesterday. The trend is away from people doing as much retail shopping physically in stores. And so how do you make developments thrive when it's not the traditional, retail store mall model? And he's finding that he's found that it's working out in the model. Hopefully, we'd like to see it all be successful.
We're going to visit a popular restaurant on the weekly special at 11 o'clock. Milo's. Joe Valmer will be in the house. And then our friend Andy Shifter, Hats and Stuff, which is about 100 feet from us. And I'll tell you, it is the best collection of hats, I think, in St. Louis. It's really a great place. And shirts.
And shirts. And if you need that, a gift for some friends coming in from out of town, or you're like, I want my sports gear. I never ceases to amaze me the prices in there and how helpful. You can say, Andy, I need something. I need a last minute University of Nebraska gift for my husband. And he's like, here, I'll take you right back and show me what he's got. He's got me out of some sitches. I'm just going to say it that way when I haven't had enough forethought on gifts to think ahead of time.
And his prices are not ridiculous either.
No, they're low.
They're really good.
Yeah, he does. It's some kind of he's able to buy an overstock situation, and so they're ridiculously low compared to everybody else's. It's kind of fun. Saw today, Connor McCarthy and Frank both, that Disneyland opened 70 years ago today.
Disneyland? You mean one in California?
Yeah, which is the beginning of the Disney theme parks, right? Way before there was a Disney World. And I was thinking, what was it like in America before we had the Disney theme parks, which became, I would say, a lot of families somewhere in the course of the lifetime of their family, it's a rite of passage to take the kids to Disney World or Disneyland or both. And that just didn't exist 70 years ago. We just didn't even have that as an option or possibility. Did you go as a child, Connor?
To Disneyland? No.
I don't think anybody.
Oh, to Disney World.
To Disney World, yes.
Yeah, so I'm just saying it was the beginning of the idea of this massive theme park to bring a nationally attractive. There was always, Coney Island and the sort of carnival aspect, but this is the first time there was a place that was like a destination to travel from all over the country and all over the world.
I never went. I don't know anybody in my friend group that ever went to Disney World. It wasn't a big thing when I was growing up. But
did you make sure you took your kids there?
Yeah, of course we went with the kids at least once.
Yeah, that was our thing too. Is I hadn't gone. My only time going was taking my kids, but it just felt like, okay, this is one of those things we put on the agenda and we do. And many people I know do it every single year. Our friend Josh Gilbert, they do Disneyland, and did that with their young adorable son and had the time of their lives. It's
I think Josh just sent us a picture of him going down.
Oh, did he really?
Rides. Yeah.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
But I will say this. This is per AI, is Disney World is experiencing lower than usual attendance, particularly during the summer months. The trend has been observed by various sources. While the parks are not completely empty, wait times are down a little bit. Mm-hmm. Did you ever buy one of those fast passes?
Fast passes.
Is that at Six Flags or Disney World or both?
We did it at Disney World. We have a friend who goes almost every year, and so she was our kind of personal guide for all of the hacks and the tricks. I mean, it's been 20 years since we were there, but she helped us out a lot. It was really helpful. We have to, before we take a quick break, I got to ask you this question because it's a great one on the air from the 314. Please respond as soon as you can, Frank. Where on the hill would you take your 15-year-old granddaughter to eat lunch?
Well, if you're going to go for the sandwich route, I would go Joya's. And I know
I love Adriana's too, though.
Yeah.
Two good options.
The dining establishment is not huge inside and is a little hot. Or you could go inside and go to Zia's and have one of their great salads, and a meatball sandwich. That's good stuff too. So
good suggestions.
Yeah. All right, we will take a short time out when we come back. The opening dialogue, Bob O'Loughlin, Joe Valmer from Milo's, and Andy Shifter.
Don't look now, but it's going to be warm out here pretty soon, and you're going to want to open up your window. The only problem is your window hasn't painted shut for a while now. That's why you need to call my neighbor, Larry, or his son, Joe. They run a company called The Window Store, and they've been in business now 36 years. And what's great about The Window Store is that they are a St. Louis company. You often see these commercials where buy 4 windows and get the next 7 free. Well, guess what? When you compare apples to apples, The Window Store doesn't do any of that marketing stuff. It's very simple. You buy 1 window, you pay for 1 window. And when you compare apples to apples, The Window Store prices are significantly better. Every window is energy efficient. Every door is as good as can be. And all you get is great customer service and a great company. St. Louis owned, St. Louis operated The Window Store. WSWindow.net, 739-0002 or WSWindow.net. Call today. Tell them I sent you.
Make a splash this summer with Dogtown Pizza. The weather and the pizza ovens are heating up, so stock up on 12 different flavors of your favorite Dogtown. Why cook hamburgers on the grill when you can get a hamburger pizza? Hot chicken, the SOB and for me, and from the garden, tomato, basil, garlic, and the veggie. Make your next pool party a pizza party with 12 different flavors of Dogtown. One for every swimmer in your house. Make it a Dogtown summer at every local grocery store and dogtownpizza.com.
Are you retired? Are you thinking about retiring? Who is helping you with retirement? Might be time to check out the show When Retirement Happens, hosted by Kevin Lloyd of Legacy Wealth Advisors. Saturday at 1, Sunday at noon on the Big 550 KTRS.
It's your land, your tractor, and your time to save. Built for any task, a John Deere compact tractor can handle it all. Right now, enjoy 0% financing, cash rebates, and hard-to-beat offers only at Seidenstricker Nobe. Designed to last and trusted for generations. Mow it, move it, dig it, and get it done. Visit us at snpartners.com. Seidenstricker Nobe, your partner for the land.
Offer valid through 10/31/2025. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Have you recently retired and lost your sense of purpose? It happens. How about an opportunity to reconnect with the community? You should consider a part-time or even a full-time position with the Rockwood School District. You see, Rockwood School District is actively looking to fill part-time and substitute positions. Bus drivers, cafeteria workers, groundskeepers, and more. They offer outstanding benefits, a positive and caring working environment, competitive pay, flexible hours as well as shifts, signing bonuses, and an opportunity to work with kids. And if you're hired full-time, you can enroll your kids in the Rockwood School District even if you don't live in the district. The application process is easy. No resumes required. Just go to rsdmo.org/jobs. That's rsdmo.org/jobs. Reconnect with the community and find a new purpose with the Rockwood School District. rsdmo.org/jobs.
The all-new KTRS.com is live and ready for you. The new KTRS.com makes it even easier to listen live and stream your favorite shows.
Plus, if you missed a show or segment, find the KTRS podcasts on the homepage and play back what you missed.
Or check out KTRS TV and the Big 550 YouTube channel and follow your favorite KTRS personalities. All your favorite shows and personalities are just a click away on the all-new KTRS.com. Check it out today. And now the opening dialogue with Frank and Jill on the Big 550 KTRS.
Powered by Worldwide Technology Raceway.
All right, welcome back. Thought one. So the Cardinals may be world championship less since 2011, and they may not make the playoffs this year. But then you have a night like you had last night. You're reminded of our incredible baseball past. They came to the green room. It was about 6 o'clock when they all got off the trolley. And there were our stars of the past, the World Series MVPs. David Eckstein, who said Tony La Russa would get on him about being cheap. He drove his mom's Toyota. La Russa said, "Don't ever be cheap with your wife, David." And David Freese, who said when La Russa benched him, he would storm into his office yelling, and La Russa would point to the lineup card and simply say, "Here, do you want to take my job?" They were all there, the pitcher-catcher combo of Matt Morris and Mike Matheny, the great Reggie Sanders, who's more cut up now than he was as a player, Jason Mott, the father of two, with a beard ZZ Top would love. Rick Ankiel was really reflective and said, "I've looked back at my numbers, and I'm really proud of what I accomplished." A cool night, about 1,500 fans. It was called Celebrate Cardinal Championships. Tony La Russa put it on, a lot of quality people on that stage, and Joe Buck was an outstanding MC.
If you had to name one or two moments that were the most memorable or most surprised you, knowing in advance how cool the whole thing was going to be, what would you say those were?
Well, I think the fact that Ozzie Smith began the night on stage at a Tony La Russa event was pretty stunning to a lot of people because of their celebrated feud and their type A's and tough guys. But for Ozzie to show up because it was for a good cause, I think that was really cool.
And it's a really mature thing to show all of us that sometimes there is such a thing as water under the bridge.
Yeah. And just La Russa's relentless energy, like Joe recounted the story. "Hey, Joe, it's Tony. I'm going to need you. I'm going to need you. This is the night. You got to do this, okay?" And just kind of strong-arming everybody to come. And how about this? Brian Jordan and Ray Lankford weren't even on stage, but they took the time to fly here to be a part of the event. It's really cool.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Well, speaking of things that we're going to want to keep our eyes on, I think it's going to be potentially a very interesting St. Louis County Council race. Just listen to this quote from yesterday. Quote, "She's basically just given up. St. Louis County is not an adult daycare center." This is what politician Maria Chappelle-Nadal had to say about her former boss, County Councilwoman Rita Hurd Dates. Chappelle-Nadal is going to challenge her former boss and try to win her county council seat. Ferguson Mayor Ella Jones also vying for that job. And you remember that incumbent County Councilwoman Rita Hurd Dates fired Maria Chappelle-Nadal when she worked for her, allegedly for inflammatory statements on social media. Chappelle-Nadal later sued for wrongful termination, reportedly settled for $77,000. Of course, Chappelle-Nadal previously served in the Missouri Senate, Missouri House of Representatives. County Council primary election is in August of next year, and if you like sound bites and you like spicy races with a lot of finger pointing, I think we're going to be in for an interesting one there.
It's good television. Good for the media. Good for newspapers.
Hopefully good for the public in the end. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, thought two. I think if you asked anybody if there could be a cure for some disease, the first choice would be cancer, because there are so many different types of cancers and it affects so many people. You know what would be second for me would be Alzheimer's. So brutal to have someone you love, someone you adored your whole life, and that someone doesn't even recognize you. and then to know the shame and the embarrassment they feel most of the time. More than 7 million people suffer from Alzheimer's. But now testing for it may be a lot easier. The FDA has approved the first blood test that can help doctors diagnose the disease in patients. It can detect abnormal clumps of protein in the brain. Now, before this was approved, doctors used to use PET scans and spinal fluid tests that forecast the disease, and those are really expensive. Having a blood test makes it much easier for the diagnosis, obviously. And the FDA is approving more medications over the last few years. And these drugs don't cure it, but they can really slow it down. So you get diagnosed and you test for it, you test positive for it, and then you get the drugs very early, and you're in much better shape over a long period of time. So good for these great scientists.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, WashU has been integral in some of this key research here. Unfortunately, some of the funding for it has been under the knife from some of these budget cuts. But I think there's a lot of, at least even on both sides of the aisle, some of our representatives in Washington have recognized that cutting funding for things like this may end up shooting us in the foot long term, something we need to continue to take a look at. Downtown Hotel that many of you are very familiar with. It's been a lot of, if you have friends or family that come into town for things like these big volleyball tournaments or whatever, the Holiday Inn Convention Hotel downtown, been there forever. Reported yesterday by the St. Louis Business Journal, it is now going to be operating with independent branding. It's by the way, a pretty big hotel, 300-room hotel at North 9th Street. Unclear why the hotel is no longer affiliated with the Holiday Inn brands, but the owners say it's going to still be an improvement. They're going to call it, as now that it's part of the newly expanded America Center Convention Complex, they're just going to rebrand it as the Arch Convention Hotel. So no more downtown Holiday Inn, but we're going to have the Arch Convention Hotel adjacent to the convention center from here on out.
When's the last time you've been in a Holiday Inn?
Long time, but as a kid, we actually were campers because budgets were tight growing up. But so we had our
Holidome,
our Coleman pop-up camper. But sometimes, maybe two or three times in my childhood, I can remember somehow we were able to stay at a Holiday Inn, and to me, it might have been the Ritz-Carlton because they had a Holidome pool, and it didn't get any better than that.
John Ferrara, one of the founders of the Pasta House, would take his kids. They say, we're going on a family vacation, and they would drive to South County, and they'd stay in a Holidome. They didn't know, hey, we're here. And the kids didn't know, and they would be in this indoor pool for 4 days.
Yeah, and that's even true. We were at this family wedding in Des Moines last weekend, and some of the kids that were in from out of town, their parents were laughing because they're like, they don't care anything else that we do all weekend as long as they get to swim in the hotel pool. I said, it's nice to know that some things never die, that's still really fun for kids.
Okay, thought three, couple things. We're going to a restaurant this weekend, Union Loafers, really good. And this is really interesting. On the reservation now, they require a down payment, $5 per person. Now, it will go to the bill when you get it. But I did find it kind of interesting. It's a Saturday night, and there were a couple of openings. But I'd love to get a reaction from our audience on this. Royal Banks of Missouri text line, 84126. Do you think this is a good idea or a bad idea? And I will say this, Union Loafers, great pizza, great bread, great salad, just a terrific place. A really nasty but rather funny line at the ESPYs by, what was that comedian, Connor? Gosh.
Who was hosting?
Yeah.
Shane Gillis.
Yeah, Shane Gillis. He said, when Caitlin Clark retires from the WNBA, she's going to work at the Waffle House so she can keep doing what she loves most, fist fighting black women. Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Yep, only he could get away with that in that setting. Did it get a laugh?
I think it did, yeah.
So just back real quickly on your question, having been in the restaurant business, are we presuming that it's to try to mitigate the no-shows, which then people get turned away because somebody else calls and says, no, we don't have a spot for you at that time, and then you don't show up for your reservation and they miss out on potential customers?
Yes. I do think, I don't know that many, I used to be a maitre d'. we didn't get a lot of cancellations. I think if you take the time to make a reservation, you usually show up. I mean, there's some, but
we need to ask that question next time we have somebody in a restaurant that takes reservations, because I would imagine now that people can do it online. You make multiple reservations. I know people who do this, and then they kind of decide last minute where they're going to go. Now, do they cancel last minute? I don't know, but I think since it's easier thing to do, I wouldn't be surprised if people are worse about showing up and when they make that commitment and the reservation than they used to be.
Yeah, I'll ask them Saturday night myself. I mean, obviously they did this because that was a problem at their place. But
yeah, Union Loafers has been known for a long time as one of those places. They really pride themselves on being very, very good to their employees. And sometimes they're not afraid to have some rules for customers because as part of that system for being able to operate sustainably and support those. So I don't know where that balance is. At some point, do customers say, listen, it shouldn't be this much work to be able to just come spend my money in your establishment. Other people say, no, this is just part of the new way of making it more mutually respectful relationship. And again, I'd love to hear what you guys think on the Royal Banks of Missouri text line. A movie recommendation I heard yesterday on the air here, John Carney's show. Randy Naughton is filling in for a few days for John while he's out of town. She and Julie Buck, by the way, great pairing. Make sure you keep your radio dial here this afternoon. They're fun to listen to. But she made a movie
shot at Carney there.
No, Carney's great too, and also it's fun. Movie rec by Randy. I am so glad I watched it. John and I both absolutely loved it. It's called The Ballad of Wallace Island. It's free on Peacock or rentable on Amazon Prime for $4. It is so irresistibly charming. The humor, very sharp, quirky. We laughed out loud several times. Scenery, incredibly stunning. It's just a lovely, heartfelt music and a story about unexpected connections. It's just a really warm, funny, beautiful, life-affirming film, and it's been a long time since I had one.
You watched it how?
I watched it on Peacock for free, and of course you pay for the subscription. You can also, though, I did check, get it on Amazon Prime if you don't have Peacock, and it's $4 to rent it. So I think it's well worth your $4 in terms of entertainment value if you get it. But it was one that I'm gonna keep rewatching because it was that enjoyable.
All
and
right.
John liked it just as much as I did, so if that matters to you. It's called, one more time, somebody asking, The Ballad of Wallace Island, and Wallace is spelled Wallis.
One more great line from Shane Gillis, by the way. He said there was supposed to be an Epstein joke, but it got deleted or it never existed.
Oh, that's really, really good. Hey, one of the things that we're going to be hearing in just a few minutes from our friend Bob O'Loughlin, who's done such great things out here at Westport, including the incredible courtyard that is here with a giant movie screen. Just think that same size movie screen that you used to see when you went to the drive-in movie as a kid, right here in the courtyard. And you can bring your kids, your grandkids, friends, nieces, nephews for a free movie watching The Sandlot. That's coming up tomorrow night right here at Westport. It's going to be a really fun evening. All you need to do is bring a new unwrapped toy, because we, along with our friends at Westport, partnering up with the Salvation Army to make this the best Christmas in July ever. It is very fun walking into the studios every day and seeing our white boxes where we're collecting those new unwrapped toys filling up. You still have time, if you haven't gotten around to it yet, to come be a part of doing something really special for the kids who need it in our community. And you can make a difference just by dropping off a toy here at the studios or when you come watch The Sandlot tomorrow night. That's KTRS, Westport, and the Salvation Army, along with so many of our business partners, making Christmas in July a huge success this year.
And now, KTRS weather from the John Beal Roofing Weather Desk.
Thunderstorms were not widespread overnight, but we did have a couple of big boomers move through in spots. The weather has generally settled down this morning, but that won't last for everybody. Once again, another round of rain and storms possible this afternoon with a weak cold front nearby. This time looks to me like the better storm chances run from St. Louis to the south. Outside of those storms, partly cloudy, not as hot as yesterday, but still muggy, up to 87 this afternoon. An isolated shower or storm possible tonight, but mainly dry time, I think, down to 72 for the low. and it's basically a copy and paste forecast tomorrow. Partly cloudy, chance of some storms, up to about 87 in the afternoon. Still looking at a heat wave for next week. Let's start mentally preparing now. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers for the Big 550 KTRS.
John Bill Roofing is the home of the lowest price roofing guarantee. Get a free estimate today at johnbillroofing.com.
Most people think if I name my husband as beneficiary, everything's going to be okay, and that's not necessarily true.
I'm Scott Garcia with Premier Estate and Income Planning.
What am I doing taking care of people after somebody has passed and all the mess that comes with that?
And I'm Jennifer Cermak, Chief Counsel and Estate Planning Attorney of Premier Estate and Income Planning.
No longer is the attorney the gatekeeper to your lives.
Let us show you how to protect your assets, avoid probate, and retire with confidence.
Having an estate plan could be the most important document you could ever have.
The Premier Income and Estate Planning Show, this Saturday at 4 and this Sunday morning at 7 on the Big 550 KTRS.
At Maryville University, we power dreams, not just degrees. For nearly 150 years, we've empowered graduates to build successful careers. At Maryville, expect a rigorous, technology-driven, mentor-inspired education in a diverse and inclusive learning environment. We help you take it to the next level, no matter what field you choose. Now is the time to turn your ambition into action and transform your dream into reality. Start your journey at maryville.edu.
It's Julie Buck here for Dense Express STL. Let's talk about a live and local company that is really doing an incredible job. Let's shine a spotlight on this family-owned business. They are fantastic at what they do. And, of course, they fix your car when you have dents. I mean, we've had a lot of hail damage that's gone around lately, and there are some people that like to put it off. Well, don't worry. You can still get this covered, in most cases, under insurance. And our friends at Dense Express STL will actually take care of the paperwork for you, because that's one of the things that I feel like deters people from getting that repair done. But do it. Get your car back to looking good, making your ride look smooth. Also minor collision repairs, Dense Express STL. And they do want you to make an appointment. That's the best thing to do. It's just to make an appointment. You can simply do that online, or you can call them. Find out more on their website. It's denseexpressstl.com with 2 locations, one in St. Charles and one in Baldwin.
The St. Louis County Library Foundation is hosting Popped from the Page on August 9th at 6:30 p.m. at the Clark Family Branch. This fun outdoor movie night for adults features a screening of A Knight's Tale, food trucks, and a signature cocktail and ice cream. There will also be indoor activities with chances to win amazing prizes. General admission and VIP ticket options are available. You can learn more and purchase tickets at foundation.slcl.org.
Now in their 3rd generation and in business for 68 years, Easter Fence is the oldest and most reliable fence company in the St. Louis area. Easter Fence also does decks, concrete, retractable awnings, all sorts of room enclosures, like sunrooms, screen rooms, and roof overs. They take great pride in their work and have a philosophy to simply do what's right and honor their Easter guarantee. Trust your next job to Easter Fence. Call 314-892-8500. Online at easterfenceinc.com.
Welcome back to the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. Frank Cusimano with Jill Farmer. And in studio, we're delighted to have Bob O'Loughlin, who's single-handedly, reinventing St. Louis. Good to be with you, sir. How are you?
Good, Frank. How are you?
Great. So I think for the audience who's not familiar with the project, can you kind of explain it, what you're trying to accomplish downtown as we speak?
Yeah, happy to do it. All of the people that have vested interest downtown, and I'm talking about every major sport, the DeWitts in baseball, Stillman and Andy Taylor and Carolyn Kindle, Jim McKelvey, we all got together and we said, look at every major city has to be safe. So why don't we get together and have an entertainment district where we can have 20 policemen morning, noon, and night walking a beat on horses, on bikes, so people that go downtown from visiting for conventions, tourism, concerts, or people that live here feel safe. And having police presence is really important. So we put together a bill, and we went to Jeff City. It was voted on and approved, and a week ago today, We had the governor who wanted to come in at Union Station, sign the bill along with the mayor, and we're really excited by the end of the year this will be off and running.
So we had a chance to talk to you early on in the process. It was up and down in Jeff City. There seemed to be support. Then there maybe wasn't going to be support for this legislative session. The special session came in. How key was Governor Kehoe's role in making sure this happened?
He might have been the key. Governor Kehoe is from St. Louis, as we know. He's well aware of, downtown and the perception and, to a degree, the reality of it being unsafe. And so he really was behind this bill, as was newly elected Kara Spencer. And, it seems to me the stars are aligned. You got the people who have vested interest wanting to have a safe downtown. You have the residents and people visiting our city, and we have the elected officials. And it doesn't get any better than that.
So I know when you built the O'Loughlin Family Training Center at SLU, one of the things that you and Chris May did were to visit other sites. And you got a little bit from this city, a little bit from this school, and then you put together the Taj Mahal down at West Pine or down at SLU. I'm wondering, as you try to do this in the city, have you visited other cities and tried to take a little bit of each?
Yeah, absolutely. We researched all of the cities that have entertainment districts, and you can go around the country and everybody refers to the Strip in Las Vegas, Broadway in New York. I could go on, and it's nothing new. It's where all of the people get together and they have an area, and we're very fortunate. There's not many cities that have that many assets in a condensed area. I mean, you take the Arch, you take the casino in Laclede's Landing, the Dome Stadium, the Convention Center, City Museum, Union Station. All of the major sports teams play in this condensed area. This is underutilized. Mm-hmm. We need to be out there saying this is the best place to visit, best place to play a professional, come and visit a professional. We've had Super Bowls. We've had Stanley Cups. We've had 11 World Championships in baseball. And soon we'll have a soccer team that wins. And so we should be proud of it. And people should not use the deal as, I always say, where did you go to high school? And it's followed by, never go downtown, it's not safe. We want them to say, here's where I went to high school, and I always go downtown because it's safe, and there's a lot of activities down there. And then you want people from out of town coming in saying, boy, our experience, like when we had the Frozen Four here, hadn't had it in 18 years. And their perception going in was that the city's dirty and we don't feel safe. When they left, which sold out the whole downtown plus the airport plus the county, they came away saying it was a very clean city and we felt safe. That's what we want to happen to every event downtown.
So by the end of the year, you said, let's say the scenario, I have a friend come in town, we go down, we do the aquarium, we do the wheel, we go down to the Arch, we go to Katie's Pizza down at Ballpark Village afterwards. What will I notice as a resident who's been downtown all the time? I'm there, multiple times a week. What will I notice as a difference once that entertainment district, once all those policies are enacted?
Yeah, initially, you'll recognize police presence. We already got the ambassador program through Greater St. Louis. And so people are giving directions. You see it. You don't feel like you're looking around. But any major city you go to, New York, Chicago, on every corner there's a policeman standing there. Mm-hmm. If you go downtown St. Louis right now, you won't see anybody, even in a car. So that police presence on a consistent basis is what you're going to see, and that's going to give you a very positive feeling. In addition to it, when you see people downtown, like we just had the big convention in town with 50,000 people, when you see people walking around, whether it's for a concert or it's for a convention, tourism, sporting event, you naturally feel safe because there's abundance of people. And when you see police and events, you're going to really want to go downtown and spend some time there.
How many more police officers are we talking added to this?
We're hoping to get 20 policemen morning, noon, and night, so they're really visible in this quadrant that we have.
Is there any part of this plan that's going to look at the homeless situation in downtown? Most of us have really noticed who are there fairly frequently. It seems, especially since COVID, I'm not sure that's the demarcation line or not, that there's just more people hanging out downtown who appear to not have any place else to go. And that's not always appealing for visitors coming in. Is there a way to help compassionately support those folks and also have it not be an impediment to...
That's a great question. That would be like number 2 on our list to attack that. Sidewalks, accessibility, trolleys to get you around attractive. And then we will have the ability in this entertainment district to promote the 4th of July, St. Patrick's Day, and help the people that are already putting it on. If you recall, years gone by, we were a city that had close to 1 million people on the 4th of July. It's kind of dwindled over the years. You want to bring that back, and this entertainment district with all the major investors downtown, hopefully we broaden it and get more and more organizations to come in and do the things that look good, feel good, attack problems that as they come up, you go ahead and take care of it.
So what's the next step? And realistically, how quickly could we see this entertainment district?
Yeah, all of the legalities have to put together. And ironically, I just got off the phone with our lawyer, and that the soonest you're going to start seeing something would be towards the September to December time period. But everything will be done by the end of the year, signed by the mayor and also the Board of Aldermen, and then it'll become official. But we're going to do all of this legwork in between now and then, and we're hoping to work with the St. Louis Police Department to actually enact and have the policemen out on the street so you can see that sooner rather than later.
Is the Millennium Hotel project from the Gateway Arch Foundation integral to what your vision is for what happens downtown, and if so, why?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's part of it. I mean, when you see boarded up buildings in cities you go to or empty buildings, that's an eyesore. So taking the hotel down, the Millennium Hotel, is a priority, doing something with Railway Exchange. So, this group of people that all have major investments will broaden our scope to hopefully assist or help along the way to make St. Louis a city that we can all be proud of.
If and when this happens, would you rank this number 1 in your illustrious career of achievements?
Boy, that's a good question, Frank. You always come up with great questions. I'm not sure I would list it number 1, but it's definitely in the top 5. This is taking a downtown area that over the years, as we all know, and when we had the signing, I mentioned it, the greatness of St. Louis was we had the first Olympics on U.S. soil. We were the 4th largest city in the United States. St. Louis people put together the money that Lindbergh flew across the Atlantic. You have to think big. Mm-hmm. And I moved here about 40 years ago. And over the years, I think part of the fragmented government we have, where you have the city, the county, the municipalities that compete with each other, the downtown's the core. That's our heart. And you've got to say, let's make that the best we can. And so the stars are aligned. It's not, Frank, if. It's a matter of when this is going to take place.
Entertainment District front and center right now. Speaking of dreaming big, can you give us just a little bit of a hint or a clue or what your big dream is beyond this?
Well, it is to have people around the country, when they say, let's go to St. Louis, it's yes. We're on the top of everybody's list to go to St. Louis. And then the people that live here, rather than saying, I don't go downtown because I don't feel safe, I want people to say, I go downtown because it is safe. They got great things going on down there, and I want to be a part of it.
You're at an age where some people are retired. Has the word retirement ever even entered your vernacular?
No.
Never even think about it.
No. There's just too much going on here out at Westport. Little teaser. We're hoping that in fact, it will happen at the end of September. The 30-foot glove is going to be put together out in our parking lot. In the first week of October, Rawlings is going to have a 30-foot gold glove on the top of the Gold Tower.
Wow.
And we're hoping to get Ozzy out here since he's got 13 of them and, kind of celebrate Westport, which, as you can see, is really coming back. We opened the Basso restaurant out there, and you can't get into it. It's packed every night. And it's a great product, and we're very proud of what's going on at Westport.
Great to see you, sir. Congrats. We're behind you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's Bob O'Loughlin. We'll take a short time out. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS.
For all of your travel needs, you go to the best travel agency in the world. Granted, I'm a little biased. Altair Travel and Cruises. They'll take you wherever you want to go in style. They'll handle all the details. You handle all the fun. Don't go to the Googles. Don't make that mistake. It all starts at Altair Travel and Cruises on Brentwood Boulevard, 314-968-9600. Anywhere you want to go, let Altair Travel take you. AltairTravel.com.
I'm Jeff Zufall, Senior Tax Strategist and Wealth Advisor with Capital Advisory Group. Now, more than ever, having a tax strategy to protect and grow your wealth is an absolute must. Every Saturday, Josh Gilbert and I will discuss how you can keep what's yours, because the most important part of your wealth plan is your tax plan. That's Keep What's Yours this Saturday afternoon.
Capital Advisory Group presents Keep What's Yours with Jeff Zufall and Josh Gilbert this Saturday afternoon at 3 on the Big 550 KTRS.
Hi, Matt Kearns, president of St. Lou Fringe. Our festival, St. Louis' stage for new works. Grab a festival pass and meet me August 11th through 17th at STL Fringe Fest 25 to see great dramas. Sex educator, writer, and performance artist David Wraith joins Fringe to deconstruct his racial, sexual, and gender identity through the lens of his complicated relationship with his late mother, in a powerful new show called Mommy Issues. It's a must-see. Grab passes and tickets for STL Fringe Fest today, and I'll see you at the Fringe, stlfringe.org.
It's Julie Buck here to tell you that the patio is open at Bishop's Post right next to Chesterfield Mall. Get your reservations in now and go to Bishop's Post. You will love it. Tell them Julie Buck sent you, bishopspost.com.
The storms are back, the wind, the hail, the damage to the roof. And when the roof gets damaged, who do you call? You call John Bill Roofing. But the storms are back. You know who else follows the storms? The storm chasers. These are the teams of people who come and leave a note on your door, mailbox, maybe your windshield wiper, and they tell you to call, and you think you're getting a deal. You give them half the money, and you never see them again. With John Bill Roofing, they've been in this business for a long time right here in St. Louis. They live, work, and play, and they guarantee you to give you the best price on your roof. When the roof gets damaged, your first phone call is to John Bill Roofing, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, or johnbillroofing.com. Roofing, siding, gutters, John Bill Roofing. Residential, commercial, industrial, a company you can trust, a company that lives, works, and plays right here in St. Louis. Make it local. Make it John Beal or johnbillroofing.com. Are you old school or are you new school? Doesn't really matter, because if you need a hardware store, where do you go? Schnarr's Hardware, and their two locations, East Lockwood and Webster Groves, and, of course, their world headquarters on Clayton Road. You see, Schnarr's Hardware is one of those places where you walk in and you say, this thing broke off my toilet. Do you have one of these? Yeah, follow me. And they take you in the back, and you pass 19 different aisles of things that you wish you could stop and look at. And do you need a 3-inch or a 4-inch? I think I need a 3-inch. Great. I'll buy two, and I'll bring the other one back. That's why Schnarr's Hardware has been so successful. It's the customer service and the attention to detail. Whether you need fertilizer or whether you need something for the kitchen, maybe you need something for the big green egg. Two locations, one great hardware store, Schnarr's Hardware. And yes, the popcorn is always free, as well as the smell, because it smells like a hardware store. East Lockwood and Webster Groves, and on Clayton Road in Ladue, Schnarr's or schnarrs.com. We'll see you there.
All right, welcome back. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. If you'd like to be a part of the program, Royal Banks of Missouri text line 84126. And you can watch us on YouTube and on Facebook. Good program lined up for you the rest of the way. Joe Valmer is going to be with us from Milo's. And then Andy Shifter from Hats and Stuff, which is a beautiful sports apparel place, which is about 100 feet from where we are right now.
Yeah. And in addition, he's down at the Soulard Market every week too. I want to hear how things are going down there. Haven't been in a minute. So what did you think of the venue last night for the big Tony La Russa extravaganza?
Yeah, it's just an amazing building. Gosh, it's just spectacular. They seat 3,000. I think there were 1,400 to 1,500 in the place, so you've almost packed the whole lower bowl area, but just magnificent. And I was thinking they put us in a green room where we did the interviews with, Matheny and Eckstein and Freeze, and he goes, boy, you wouldn't believe the people that have been in this green room. And they threw off a couple of famous names, like Chris Rock was one of them. Oh, God, there were a couple more. But they're just, what a great place.
So you often say that you really you'll form relationships and build friendships and respect with a lot of athletes and a lot of coaches. But if you had to pick some of the favorites, it's the incredible sound bites, the great interviewee, the people who are really good at being interviewed, who are great talkers. Yeah. So using that second filter to pick favorites, was there anybody last night who you got to hear talking or telling a story again that you're like, yeah, I'd love to be able to interview them and get them on my regular, like back in the day, they were fun athletes to interview because they're good talkers?
Yeah, well, a lot of them were there, yeah. So I think, Mike Matheny and I became pretty close, and our kids played together, and it was good seeing him again. And David Freeze, kind of watched him grow up, and just, seemingly just a great father, and his life's in a good place. And I'm telling you, Eckstein is the sweetest and most humble guy I've ever been around. Reggie Sanders is just unbelievable. Reggie Sanders is the only athlete in the history of Sports Plus that one time after a game, he agreed to be on the show, and he and I walked from the stadium to the studio. And like last night, he said, hey, Frank, you remember you made me walk all the way to your station? I said, yeah, I didn't have a car. So, yeah, just so good to see all those guys. And Ian Keel was a little prickly at times. He was going through a lot, but he was great last night. He's at peace with himself. And Alan Bennis was on hand, and there was just a lot of cool people.
Was Jim Edmonds was on stage at one point, wasn't he answering, talking about some of the highlights?
Before the end of it, so I didn't get to see. I'm sure he was there.
And he's somebody that people say is a very good storyteller. He's had a more interesting life off the field. We can say that fairly. But when I've heard him talk about baseball, and he's just a good storyteller.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but he was so erudite as a center fielder and so sophisticated.
Side note, Googling erudite right now as we speak.
Scholarly. So he would actually look into the catcher's mitt. Think how far away center field is. And the catcher's got this little index finger, Jill, and he's given like 2 fingers, curveball, slider. Mm-hmm. And he would adjust his first movements pertaining to where he thought the pitch was going to go and to the history of that hitter. So, he was the best of his generation. So he would get that quick extra step, that first step, because he knew where the ball was going to be pitched, and he kind of knew where that hitter would hit it. Mm-hmm. It was amazing.
See, now he'd need a pitch com because they don't call pitches like that anymore.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to say. How is technology changing the game to the point where having that sort of, I don't know what you would call it, sixth sense when it comes to seeing things that other players aren't experiencing? Now just with the training, and I'm talking like junior high and high school athletes, the amount of assessment that goes on and sports-specific training, it's such a different world than it was even 20 years ago.
That's why, like, anybody that knows anything about sports will say it's a really bad idea for kids to specialize at a young age. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons is the injury thing. Like, if you're like 12 years old and you're working the same muscles in the same sport 12 months a year, you're asking for problems.
Yeah, the psychological side of it too. I know multiple kids, my kids' age, who had very bright futures that just told their parents, "I am done," when they got to high school or first year of college, even though they potentially could have continued on beyond that because they were burnt out by then. And that's something to think about. Well, somebody who I never burn out talking about, and I have been just saying good things. It was in an unofficial capacity for many, many years, multiple decades actually, where I would just tell everybody I knew if they needed a basement waterproofing company, call Woods, no question. Woods is the company that I would use. It's the company I have used. I won't bore you with all the details of the things that they've come and fixed and improved in the homes we've owned through the years, but the list is long. And now I can't even keep track of all the different friends and people close to me and acquaintances that I have recommended call Woods and have come back later and said, wow, just the stories are numerous. I'd been told by somebody else this is going to be a $20,000 fix, and Woods said, no, that would be overkill. And they came up with a solution that was not nearly as expensive or all-encompassing. Or other times saying, they really understood that we couldn't afford whatever the fix was now, so they gave us some ideas on how to work with it and build up toward being able to make the major fix that we were going to need in order to hold on to the value of our home. I'm always proud to be able to recommend people go to Woods because I know they care so much about customer service. They have an incredible record with the Better Business Bureau, and they have had a long history of having customers be the ones who recommend to other potential customers using them, and that's always a great sign of a great company. And that's why they've been doing business as a family-owned business here in the St. Louis region since 1986. WoodsBasementSystems.com, 618-708-4055.
Hear that? That's what having fewer hot flashes and night sweats can sound like. Veoza is the #1 prescribed hormone-free treatment FDA approved for moderate to severe vasomotor symptoms, also known as hot flashes and night sweats, due to menopause. Veoza can cause serious side effects, including liver problems. Your doctor will do blood tests before and during treatment. Stop Veoza and call your doctor if you have symptoms of liver problems, such as feeling more tired than usual, decreased appetite, nausea, vomiting, itching, yellowing of the eyes or skin, pale stool, dark urine, or stomach pain. Don't use Veoza if you have cirrhosis, severe kidney problems, kidney failure, or take CYP1A2 inhibitors. Ask your doctor about Veoza. To learn more, call 1-866-239-1637 or go to Veoza.com. That's VEOZAH.com.
Surprise! Your expenses this month were way higher than you expected! Also, you forgot to renew your website domain and now you're in a bidding war!
You should see the look on your face.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Plus, the fridge died in the break room and now everything smells weird!
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
This is where St. Louis comes to talk.
What number do you want?
The Big 550.
KTRS.
St. Louis.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The debate continues over the release of the Justice Department's files into Jeffrey Epstein. The convicted sex offender died in jail by suicide while awaiting his sex trafficking trial. President Trump is dismissing bipartisan efforts and supporters' calls for transparency.
Some of his comments about his own supporters, he is really coming out swinging here, calling them stupid people, referring to them as past supporters, saying, I don't want their support anymore. Take, for example, Charlie Kirk said that this is about people being very confused about this and that they want more answers. But based on what we're hearing from the president, that explanation is not going to be coming anytime soon.
ABC's Karen Travers at the White House. The Senate, in a vote last night, approving billions in spending cuts and clawbacks that are part of the mega bill with a few changes, and that sends the measure back to the House for approval. Congress is up against a Friday deadline to pass the measures, or the monies allocated under the law must be spent. ABC's Jay O'Brien has the latest.
This package codifies those so-called DOGE cuts to federal spending, and in particular looks at foreign aid that was slashed after the gutting of USAID and folding it into the State Department, and also about a $1 billion cut to public broadcasting that's going to impact both NPR and PBS.
At least 3 people were killed and nearly a dozen injured Thursday after an Israeli strike appears to have hit Gaza's only Catholic church. ABC's Patrick Revo has more details.
The parish priest, Father Gabriele Romanelli, who used to speak with the late Pope Francis every evening. Those calls becoming well known, particularly after the late Pope's death. Father Romanelli appears to have received a light injury to his leg. Some of the others hurt were critically injured.
The strikes come a day after nearly 24 Palestinians were killed when a stampede broke out at an Israeli U.S.-backed food and aid distribution site. You're listening to ABC News.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
$84 degrees at 11:03 with KTRS News. I'm Steve Potter. A new special interim committee on property taxes is beginning its work. The Missouri House Special Interim Committee on Property Tax Reform met yesterday to discuss ideas to ensure fairness, sustainability, and transparency for taxpayers and municipalities. The committee's next meeting will take place July 23rd in Lebanon, Missouri. The Regional Arts Commission of St. Louis has announced a partnership with Four Hands Brewing Company to launch a limited edition beer with labels designed by 5 local artists that will be available at grocery and liquor stores. RAC is inviting the public to meet the artists at a launch party tomorrow beginning at 5 p.m. at the Four Hands location on South 8th Street. Superman is currently #1 at the box office, written and directed by a 1984 graduate of St. Louis University High School, James Gunn. And now there's an opportunity for you to see more films by St. Louisans.
It's the 25th annual St. Louis Filmmakers Showcase, featuring 5 full-length features and 73 shorts, all made by talented filmmakers from St. Louis. It kicks off this Friday with Ride or Die, about 2 women on a road trip from St. Louis to California, written and directed by St. Louisan Josie Lynn Smith. There will be movies every night until the festival closes 10 days later with Soul on Fire, the true story of John O'Leary, who overcame near-fatal burns as a child to become a best-selling author and motivational speaker. William H. Macy co-stars as Jack Buck, who made a tremendous effort to help and uplift the young O'Leary. This screening is free, but all others will be $15. The St. Louis Filmmakers Showcase is at the High Point Theater, 1005 McCausland Avenue, July 18th through the 27th. Details can be found at cinemastlouis.org. Sobey Bay, KTRS News.
The Missouri Department of Agriculture is offering grants aimed at funding projects that support farmers markets and other economic development initiatives that work to reduce food insecurity in the state.
The Food Insecure Cost Share Grant aims to create a thriving local food system by directly addressing food insecurity and community development. Qualifying projects of up to $50,000 must benefit residents affected by food insecurity. Applicants will only be reimbursed for 75% of the total project expenses incurred during the grant period. Applications are due by August 27th, and awarded projects must be complete or near completion by March 31st of 2026. Now, more information is available online at agriculture.mo.gov. Sheila Enders, KTRS News.
And is powerboat racing on the Mississippi River this weekend as the 2nd annual Midwest Nationals return to the Alton Riverfront. The Formula One Powerboat Championship event begins Friday afternoon with a kickoff event and street party. That's followed by nonstop racing Saturday and Sunday, where boaters from across North America will race at speeds of 120 miles per hour. More than 120,000 spectators attended last year. This KTRS Business Minute brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. You can place your order anytime at WKF.com. In the markets, the Dow is up 190 points at 44,445, NASDAQ up 164 at 20,893, and the S&P 500 up 29 at 6,293. In sports, the full blue schedule is out for the 2025-26 season. The Note will open the year at home Thursday, October 9th, with the Minnesota Wild at Enterprise. And St. Louis native Bradley Beal is headed to the Los Angeles Clippers on a new 2-year contract. Our forecast calls for a 50% chance for scattered rain and thunderstorms today, a high near 87. Mostly cloudy tonight and overnight low in the low 70s. Then a 60% chance for more rain tomorrow with a high around 89. At 11:07, we have cloudy skies, 84 degrees at the Gold Tower at Westport. Steve Potter, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
And now,
feed me Seymour.
I like to eat.
It's time for the Kuno Food Service Weekly Special.
Yum, 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 yum.
Right here on KTRS, the talk of St. Louis.
You know, I don't know anybody in St. Louis who hasn't been to Milo's. I don't know anybody in St. Louis who hasn't heard of Milo's. And in studio today is Joe Valmer, the man who puts it all together with his beautiful bride. Good to be with you, sir. How are you?
It's a wonderful day.
How about like this Saturday? How many from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. will come in to Milo's on the Hill?
Well, if the weather's cooperating, as soon as we open the gate and people come in, well, you're usually full up by 11:30, you know, on a decent Saturday. If there's an 11 o'clock wedding at St. Ambrose, we actually get people before trying to come in so they can have maybe a drink before church starts. But we usually have 11 o'clock and 1:30 wedding every Saturday at St. Ambrose, so that's always good.
But total, from, say, 11 a.m. to 12, roughly how many people you think will come in?
You're talking about just in an hour?
No, from 11 a.m. to
12 midnight? Oh,
yeah. You'll serve how many?
There could be anywhere between 500 to 1,000 people, depends on the Saturday.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's just because it's...
No wonder you wear those expensive shirts. You're making all that money. God.
My wife hates these shirts as well.
After that many years. So you have such a fascinating story. Family, funeral, business, musician, music store owner, of course, Tower Grove Music, many people knew. And then how did that winding road get you to Bocce Garden owner and then city leader? How did this path, the winding road, get you there?
Well, in the late 80s, the music business was changing greatly. Instead of selling to musicians, you were selling to DJs, and not the same feel. I was turning 30 and wanting to put bocce ball courts back on the Hill. They had been taken away. The last bar that had them had failed greatly, and there was kind of a feeling that maybe bocce courts weren't good for the neighborhood because it was too loud, too noisy. But it's something I talked people into. There was a bar that I was playing guitar at. The owner heard me talking about it, and I ended up buying half of it, putting the courts in, and taking it all over. That was 1989 when all that started. Becoming a city alderman. A city alderman, the way I was taught, was just like being a tavern owner. You're basically a service person. I knew the previous alderman, Bob Ruggieri, great guy, and he was getting tired of it, and he got me another old city leader, John Koch, Freddie Steffen. They were good friends of my dad. They got my dad drunk and told my dad that I should be an alderman.
When did you know that this thing was going to catch fire? Was it really quick?
Well, it's... God, back then, you remember there was like 12 taverns on the Hill. We're like one of the only last taverns left. It was just something that was needed. And it was a struggle. We've been done very well. It's really taken off post-COVID, and even during COVID, businesses just... It's amazing how people rallied around us. We've just come out of COVID flying, and it's been wonderful. Naturally, we had the bad times back there in 08, 09, the recession. That was scary. Everyone went through that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Last time I was down, it was great because there were some old school folks in their, I'm going to guess, 80s from the neighborhood who obviously had a regular game going that they play a lot. And then there was all these people in their 20s who definitely, it was a hangout place it's become a hangout place for them, and they love it. I assume that's one of the secrets to your success is there's just such a broad appeal.
Well, we have bocce leagues Monday through Thursday evenings, and they run basically from June till November. And you have this kind of like Green Bay Packers seats. The teams haven't changed. They've been passed on from grandparents to parents now to their children, and their children are bringing their grandchildren with them. It's the same thing. Well, my lovely mother-in-law just turned 98 last Sunday.
Wow.
And the people in this neighborhood, maybe it's something in the sausage, as they say, or something in the water, but my old Boy Scout leader still, how you doing? You walk down the street. I'm 66, and these people are all still like I'm a kid.
Somebody just texted in, love Hawaiian shirts, always know where Joe is. Great wait staff. And you really take care of your wait staff. You got 60 employees. I imagine a lot of them have been with you for a long time.
I have parents who have mothers and daughters working together now. I remember when she's actually my niece now. She married my one nephew, and he when she was born, well, her mother was working there. Now she's working for me, and her mother's come back to work for us. I have the same situation. I have 3 sisters. Their father worked there for years, and the Caruso girls, and there's 2 of them now. One's retired from working, but it's the same thing. I have my cook, who's been with me 20 years, Gerardo, and his son, daughter are working for me now.
That's so cool.
Wow, that is great.
If you're just joining us, Joel Vollmer, of course, of Milo's Bocce Gardens. We're talking about the delicious bar food there, but also just its position as an iconic place on the hill. I do want to go back a little bit. You left City Hall after many, many years as an alderman for the city of St. Louis, I think back in April. Mm-hmm. You ended up being there during some, we'll call them tumultuous, I'd call them interesting, a lot of good stories if you're in the media, a lot of good stuff to watch times. And then you said kind of by default ended up leading the Board of Aldermen for a while. Mm-hmm. Now that you're stepped away from City Hall after all those years of your service, what are you thinking about the city of St. Louis and the leadership in place now?
Well, the city's moving far ahead. We suffered through what a lot of the country, this quote unquote progressive movement, and all it did was regress us, is my firm opinion. What we have now is our new mayor, Kara Spencer, is a very wonderful person. Kara her desk was next to me on the floor for the last 10 years. She knows how to get things done. She's a little spark plug. Nothing will get in her way. And if you want something, that's the person you want. She's not going to be flying around the country saying what other cities do and how can I do it. She wants to know how to do it and get it done right now. And that's the best thing you have going for you.
How about the heavy accent on adding more police officers? How important is that? I'm sure you were advocating for that.
We need another 300 to 400 police officers to make the city run properly.
Can we afford that?
The money's always been there. The money's being used for overtime right now because we just don't have the staff. So, yeah, paying the police has never been the problem. It's getting people who want to be policemen. You have through the whole Kim Gardner scenario where people all of a sudden policemen weren't respected at all.
Yeah.
I mean, she's actually not, I won't let these policemen do this. I won't let these police. Without police, it's been proven, if you don't have a police force, you're going downhill. That's what's happened to downtown. It's very scary. I mean, the one thing we need to save the whole area, which probably won't happen in our lifetime, is the city and county to unite. If you go to Indianapolis, you've seen that happen. They're flying way above us.
Yeah, we've heard that from a lot of what we describe as movers and shakers this week. I think people are going to have to finally start listening when the people who know the situation better than those of us watching from the sidelines keep saying this over and over again. I think we're going to have to listen to that. I would love to know what you think your secret to success for so long has been. And do you think it's something that can continue on, or when the next generation of Milo's owners someday take over, what are they going to have to do to make it so successful?
Well, the secret to success at Milo's is that, and I'll be very honest with you, it's my wife, Susie.
Okay.
You're talking about somebody who, well, Frank, you had an Italian mother.
Yeah, good Italian girl. Her last name is Bartoni.
Yes. When things, this is the way you do ththings. This is the way how you treat people. And she's taught that to everyone who works there. Everyone feels like they're invested as an employee at Milo's because we treat them like family. That's why we've had employees for so long. And when people come in, they feel that. People from anywhere come in, and they just feel, because we're the last of what used to be everywhere as a mom and pop tavern. You'll see us there, and if you don't see us there, you'll see our family members there. because it's just something that when you come in, we want to make it like your home. You're going to feel like there's no better place to be.
So the hook is the bocce ball and the great drinks, great atmosphere, but you can't last on the hill without good food. You guys, I just sampled your pizza, spectacular Florentine, and I know you've always made a really good meatball. Who's behind the recipes, and what kind of accent do you put on the food?
Back in when we first put the kitchen in, you don't have to throw a rock without hitting somebody who can cook on the hill, but has worked at every restaurant. But Joe Chinichi, who's since passed away, was one of our first guys who came together and helped put the recipes together for us. From there, we actually had Paulie Del Cartivo.
Oh, yeah.
And then working for us, and things just evolved. And then Debbie Rizzo ran my kitchen, and we've evolved all those recipes and that's become what was Milo's for the last 36 years.
When you're ordering for yourself, if you're down eating lunch or need something to eat, what are your favorites off the menu?
Well, the biggest favorites are the roast beef on garlic cheeseburger. We actually cook our own roast beef and all that from scratch. But the Sazitza sandwich we do different than anyone else. The Sazitza we don't do as a link. We actually get the bulk sausage,
like a patty?
And then we do it on the char broiler, and then you put it on garlic cheeseburger with peppers and onions. And if you want a little marinara sauce inside, that's something you'll not get anywhere else. And it came about because my dad was very good friends with Sam Rumbelow.
Oh, yeah.
And Sam would just say, I thought this was a hamburger at home till I was 12, because my dad would say, because he got it for free, and Sam would say, here's some extra bulk meat, and he'd cook it on the barbecue pit. So when we opened the kitchen, that's the way I wanted to do Sazitza.
You didn't bring that, did you, today?
There's a Sazitza in the pan.
Okay, guys, stay away from that, okay? That's awesome.
Yeah.
So 1,000 people on a Saturday.
That could be, yeah. It may work between 500-600. It just depends on the weather. When the weather's nice, the garden just fills up, and then it rotates. Again, the weddings. It's amazing that people, especially with Piazza del Limo, which is open now across from St. Ambrose, everyone gets their picture taken. People who don't even get married at St. Ambrose come down to the bocce courts and to the piazza to get pictures taken. You'll see brides and grooms and whole wedding parties on the bocce courts. They're kicking the dust off after they get their pictures taken.
Well, and I've been there for 50th birthday party. Somebody on our text line is saying that somebody close to them had their celebration of life there.
Yes,
yeah. It's truly
a lot of funerals there.
Well, we're in the state of Missouri. You're supposed to be 350 feet with a liquor license from the front door of the church, but the bar was there before the church was.
Oh.
So we're only 105 feet, I believe. So yeah, we have weddings and funerals, and as the old joke goes, during the funerals there's just one less drunk. But
wow, and so if I'm hearing the numbers that you're talking about, 1,000 people on a Saturday,
it could be, not every Saturday.
But I'm a venture capital person or I'm an economist, I'm going, Joe, why didn't you take the show on the road? And why aren't there Milos in every 10 miles in the suburbs here in St. Louis?
Because this is a definite thing where there's nothing else that feels like it. When you're sitting out there in the backyard with a glass of wine, bottle of beer, a pizza, and you hear the church bells ring at St. Ambrose, and you can see the steeple, or you're sitting there on a Saturday, and all of a sudden a wedding bridal party walks in. These are things you're not going to get out here at Westport.
No way.
Or it's just something. Yeah. When you're walking by and people will come back who to just to see things. Many people walk in and say, "Isn't this where Rose is the old place that had bocce is now Lorenzo's Trattoria?"
Oh yeah,
and people get as confused that that come back.
Now, sons and daughters in this?
I have no children.
Okay,
I was, but we have. Susie comes from a family of 7. I come from a family of 5. We have. Just had her mother's birthday party there. We had 50, just on her side of the family, 52 people.
Wow.
Most of them great nieces and nephews. So we've, and I live right up the street from the tavern. Next door to me is my sister-in-law and her husband. On the other side, their daughter has bought, and her 3 kids and her husband. Now down the street is my mother-in-law, and across the street is my other niece. Mm-hmm. Behind her is my other sister-in-law. I was raised German. I'm German-Irish. My family says hi every now and then, but
yeah.
If somebody passes gas, the whole Bartoni family calls each other and they'll get together. You know how it is, Frank,
yes,
with
absolutely.
Italian families.
Yeah.
So I talked to somebody recently who had a 20-something-year-old son moving back to St. Louis. They live out in St. Charles. This is an acquaintance. And their son wanted to move into closer to the city of St. Louis. It's where a lot of other young people are. And he ended up living on the Hill. And she said, gosh, I hadn't been there for 25 years. I had no idea how happening it is down there. And people who haven't been there for a while might not know about all the new beautiful apartments and townhouses that have gone in and the businesses that are thriving that have been there for a long time like you, but all the new businesses too. How would you describe the Hill to somebody who hasn't been there recently?
It's probably the hottest real estate market in the area. We, when I was alderman, I helped get that, what is called MODA on the Hill. That's the apartment complex. And then you have the McBride complex.
Gosh, have they done some great things.
58 homes. They're actually, on the other end, one of the things I was involved in before I retired from being an alderman, the old Hubert Wheeler State School, which is on the west side of the Hill along 44 and January Avenue behind the hotels there, has been closed for some time. And McBride and Sons have purchased that. And they'll be putting, I believe, 75 to 80 townhomes in that area.
Oh, my goodness.
And the businesses that are opening up, 30 years ago, if you said there's going to be a sushi restaurant on the Hill and it's going to succeed, people would have laughed you off.
And one that people come from all over the country to go to.
In fact, John Eilerman from McBride is tearing down some homes on the Hill, and he's building himself a home. His son did the same thing.
Yeah, the Eilerman family has highly invested themselves. They definitely put their money where their mouth is. Their one daughter has a store right across from Milo's. It's called Daily Disco. That's her shop, and she lives 4 doors down. Jake lives right across from Dominic's. Yeah. And John, they're all coming in. They've seen what the value is, but there's no other community like it. It's I could never see leaving. If I'm at my house, I can walk out my garage and into John Tony's.
Wow.
And if I don't feel like going to John Tony's tonight, I get the golf cart. We go 2 blocks to Dominic's. We go to Lorenzo's, Vavaza's, and I don't even need to drive if I don't want to. It's amazing.
Joe, great to see you, sir. Thank you so much. Continued success. We encourage everybody to check out Milo's if they haven't already. It is one of the great places on the Hill. Thank you, sir.
Oh, my pleasure.
We'll take a short time out. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS.
Thank you, guys.
When you speed, you have less time to react. Follow the speed limit to keep other road users safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
When you want to send flowers to a loved one for a birthday, anniversary, or that special occasion, call your friends at Walter Knoll Florist. Walter Knoll is family-owned and operated and offers custom designs by expert designers. A huge inventory and selection that only the largest florist can offer, with quality and care that no grocery store florist can meet. They have several locations in the St. Louis metro area to serve you. Order online today at WKF.com. That's WKF.com. Walter Knoll Florist, your personal florist since 1883.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in experience and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis. CordellCordell.com.
I'm Bob Hardcastle. Listen to my Money Talk radio program every Sunday morning from 8 to 9 a.m. on the Big 550, where we discuss your money in an easy-to-understand manner. We have interesting guests, chat about money. We try to help you feel more comfortable with your money by talking about the investment market. Join me. I'm Bob Hardcastle.
Money Talk, Sunday morning at 8 on the Big 550 KTRS.
We sell siding, windows, doors, and decking by the truckload. My name is Julius Krasanik, celebrating 53 years in this business. Our company is Wholesale Siding Depot, and our seasoned customer service group has over 200 years of combined siding, window, door, and decking knowledge. My grandson Elijah says,
"Are you kidding me?"
The brands that we sell are durable, maintenance-free, and energy-saving. Featuring Anderson, CertainTeed, Viwinco, Provia, Masonite, TimberTech, and others. Offering the best selection of styles and colors available in this industry. And better yet, our prices are wholesale every day. Last, our Peace of Mind initiative also includes a free contractor referral service to take care of your installation concerns or needs. You are just one click away from keeping it local, family, and professional. Please visit WSDepot.com. That's WSDepot.com.
Wake up, it's a brand new day. Getting your weekday started the St. Louis way. It's the McGraw Show.
Hey, it's Carl, the intern. Friday, we have Dan Zarlinga from the Missouri Department of Conservation to tell us what's going on this weekend. And McGraw has a restaurant review of a hidden gem in St. Louis. That'll be at 9:10 on Friday. I don't know what's hidden about it. I don't know what's gem about it, but he'll tell us.
McGraw Millhaven, Rose Dalton, and Carl the intern. Weekday morning, 6 to 10.
Right here on your hometown station, the Big 550, KTRS. Want a song?
Surround my mind like a song on the radio.
Want a quote? It's the song and quote of the day on the Frank and Jill Show. Right here on the Big 550, KTRS.
Frank and Jill Show, 11:27 on the clock. Jill Farmer, Frank Cusimano. What a fun and dynamic interview with Joel Volmar. I mean, just the picture he paints about the kind of experience of going to Milo's and just what a great fun time it is. Lots of you texting in, talking about great memories. Somebody said from the 314, I love the Saturday lunch special, chicken spadini and salad and a beer. That sounds like a perfect summer lunch there, doesn't it?
And the way he set the scene with the having a glass of wine and a slice of pizza, and you could hear the church bells from St. Ambrose in the background. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, really, really fun. And he's, not only been an advocate for the neighborhood, but he put his money where his mouth is and served City Hall in a somewhat thankless job during some tumultuous times as well. So a lot of people, he earned a lot of respect for doing that as well. I was surprised to see on social media that this song was released and started its climb up the charts 30 years ago this week. I really could not believe that. Hi, my friend. How are you? Of course, that's Hootie and the Blowfish, Darius Rucker. And I remember when they hit the scene, it was a sensation. His voice was so distinctive. The sound was pretty hip. They were coming out of the college scene. Now, they did face a lawsuit by Bob Dylan on this song because there's a reference to Tangled Up in Blue, and they said you didn't have a right to use the songs. And there was talk at some point that Dusty Springfield, who had an I Only Want to Be With You, totally different song, really not much similarity, at one point talked about that, but they ended up, it didn't go to court. I think they paid Bob Dylan $350,000 for the using the title of the song in an unauthorized way, and they went on their merry way and sold millions and millions and millions of records.
Darius Rucker actually spent a good chunk of time in St. Louis. He was real good friends with the late, great Demetrius Johnson, so I would see him at Demetrius's functions, and he was a big sports fan and could not have been more kind to everybody who came up and saw him. I'm glad you mentioned Bob Dylan because that was the one I was thinking about last night. They said, Bob Dylan was in this green room, and so was Chris Rock. So.
And you said, and I watched the Bob Dylan movie recently, and I didn't like it because I don't think he's that great. Oh, you didn't mention that.
I thought it was okay. I don't twist it too much, but I think you do have to really love his music to like that movie because the movie was just 50% of him singing, I think. It felt like.
I don't think it was that much. And I actually thought the songs that they did play in it I thought they would have transcended whether you were a huge Dylan fan or not because they were just such big songs for sort of his
Monique kind of felt the same way. We're not big Dylan fans. We admire his talent and everything, but I don't know. If you don't love his music, I don't think you'll love the movie.
Okay, yeah, I know. Yesterday we stirred a few of you up on the text line by saying that, because the people were like, "Nope, doesn't matter. He's such an icon." So we may hear from a couple folks as well. So somebody who you like a lot and I like a lot is Billy Bob Thornton. I mean, he's an interesting character in many ways. There is one of my favorite interview series that is put on by Variety magazine. It's called. I think, what is it? Actors on Actors.
It's called Actors on Actors.
And it pops up on my YouTube feed all the time, and I end up pausing, and I use it as an excuse to multi-shirk way too often, because it'll be two actors I really like sitting down and kind of interviewing each other and reminiscing. And so Kathy Bates and Billy Bob Thornton are the subject. They're sitting down talking together about Actors on Actors. And she mentioned, I saw you at a party with Sharon Stone, and you were just talking about doing this Landman thing. And she talks about being obsessed with the show. And then Billy Bob gives her the reason why it came to being. And I thought it was a pretty interesting story. Let me know what you think.
Wow. And that was kind of all it took. I'm writing it with your voice, and he said there had been rare occasions that had happened before, and he said, let's continue the conversation. He trusted Taylor Sheridan because the body of work he had done before. And she says, Kathy Bates says multiple times, that she's watched it multiple times because she thinks it's such good acting on multiple levels and well directed. I can't believe that Billy Bob Thornton was not nominated for an Emmy for his role in Landman. I mean, look, I don't know, maybe you didn't love the series, but what he did was just incredible.
Yeah, I think Taylor Sheridan has just run away with, I think there's, in the politics of Emmys, there's some years when he's run away with everything, so then everybody else is like, well, we can't give it all to Taylor Sheridan again. So he probably was a victim of that kind of stuff, being the big Hollywood insider that I am. I just thought that may be it. I don't know if that's it or not, but it's a possibility, I guess, to think about. But he also loves Kathy Bates, and in the interview he admits to her that he was supposed to have a bit role in what's the movie with James Caan that she did that famously? Misery. And then his role got cut before the movie was shot.
He was going to be in that?
Yeah, just a very bit part. He was going to be a deputy to the sheriff.
Yeah.
And
I tell you, Misery is like, we should review that with Tarek. That is one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, I mean, she was incredible, and the whole movie was just, it was so different than anything else that had existed.
My gosh. How about when she's coming in after she's already just beat the tar out of him, and he's like beat up to death, and she's driving in, and he's in the bed, and he sees her pulling up, and she says, "Hi, Peaches," and being trying to be sweet to him when her other psychotic stage, and he just gave her the finger. I mean, I never laughed so hard in my life.
And so much of that movie takes place in such a small, really, it's like, talk about simple sets.
Yeah.
You're just basically in the bedroom.
Gosh, was that a great show.
Yeah, it really, really is. So tomorrow afternoon, my friends at Premier Heating and Cooling will be back out at my house to fix a problem that we'd had with our air conditioner. They were able to do a solution when we were out of town to keep the air conditioner running, and now they're coming in to make the permanent solution happen on the old unit in our house. And I have to say, one of my favorite things about the experience is communication. Unfortunately, in some other home repair stuff that we've had in recent months, communication has been a big challenge. We were supposed to be there one day, and then they didn't show up and didn't call until after the business day was over. Or the window they gave me, was like 10 and a half hours. We'll be there sometime between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. And the thing about Premier Heating is they listen to you. When can you be there? How do we make that work with our techs who are, of course, very busy in this hot weather? The communication is just second to none. The follow-up notes, the technical notes that they take so that we can always look back and see what has happened in the unit in the past. It's just so professional, and it's such a pleasure being a customer, even in tricky situations like when your air conditioner stops working in the heat of the summer, as we had experiencing recently. I can't recommend them highly enough. PremierHeatingCooling.net, 636-916-1122.
And now, KTRS weather from the John Beal Roofing Weather Desk.
Thunderstorms were not widespread overnight, but we did have a couple of big boomers move through in spots. The weather has generally settled down this morning, but that won't last for everybody. Once again, another round of rain and storms possible this afternoon with a weak cold front nearby. This time looks to me like the better storm chances run from St. Louis to the south. Outside of those storms, partly cloudy, not as hot as yesterday, but still muggy, up to 87 this afternoon. An isolated shower or storm possible tonight, but mainly dry time, I think, down to 72 for the low. And it's basically a copy and paste forecast tomorrow. Partly cloudy, chance of some storms, up to about 87 in the afternoon. Still looking at a heat wave for next week. Let's start mentally preparing now. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers for the Big 550 KTRS.
John Beal Roofing is the home of the lowest price roofing guarantee. Get a free estimate today at johnbealroofing.com.
Diana from Newsteaders Fine Jewelers here to remind you, we don't just offer the best pieces, we offer one of the last master hand engravers in our country. My father can create timeless, personal, and unforgettable pieces. Come by our showroom at the corner of Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or learn more online at wowdiamonds.com.
Cardinal Hall of Famer Jason Isringhausen and Eddie Scholler from the world-famous Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Hey, buddy, have you came over and looked at the new Eddie at Fast Eddie's? I finally got a new item. You know, it's been decades.
Decade? More like 40 years to figure out how to put a piece of shrimp on there with your steak.
I've known you for 40 years. You could have said something. Well, who'd have thought the Elwood could even get better? But we did it. We went and we made the Eddie. It's a foot-long serving turkey.
Not that I needed another reason to bring the whole gang down there. I'm still going to order those big Elwoods, the succulent peel and eat shrimp, the hot chick on a stick, and that famous Fast Eddie burger. And I'm always going to get one of those ice-cold frosty ones and listen to that live music on that patio every afternoon and evening.
Well, I just love adding another great item for everybody to come over and enjoy. When you come on over the beautiful Clark Bridge to look at the picturesque Mississippi River.
Picturesque? That's very eloquent.
Very, thank you very much.
Well, like Mr. Shannon says, if you're 21 and in the mood, come on over to picturesque Alton, Illinois, and see the very eloquent Eddie at Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Everyone's talking about these weight loss drugs, and it's a good thing we've got Dr. Joe Molesky with us, a St. Louis native and board-certified primary care physician. Dr. Joe, it can get very confusing, but the one thing we need to know is GLP-1, right? That's the magic cure.
The magic cure is these weight loss shots. They're injected once weekly. They're not like the old medications that you've seen 20, 30 years ago. These medications actually work. They're injected once weekly, and patients see within the first 90 days 10 to 15 pounds down. It simply works, and that's why I recommend it to all of my patients. You simply go online, book an appointment, you fill out a health questionnaire form, you get an appointment on our schedule. It's all telemedicine based. It's all done from your home, and then you meet with me or one of my nurse practitioners, and then after the 10, 15-minute consult, the medication is delivered right to your door discreetly, and you get started right now on your weight loss journey.
And you want to start to lose weight? None better than to call STLMedWeightLoss.com and ask Dr. Joe. STLMedWeightLoss.com. Repairing chimneys, walkways, porches, foundations, entire homes, anything to do with brick or stone, you need a tuck pointer you can trust, and that, of course, is Morelli. Morelli is a family-run business started in 1991, and they're only as good as their last customer. That's why when you check out the reviews online at MorelliTuckPointing.com, you'll notice that they're actual customers who are singing the praises of Morelli. So if you need a tuck pointer, you need Morelli. 314-645-1387 or MorelliTuckPointing.com.
This is Mariah, third generation at Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. Buying an engagement ring can be intimidating. At Newsteaders, we ensure complete understanding of your purchase. We offer a choice in both lab and mine-grown diamonds and are able to work with any budget. Let our family help educate you on your choice at Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
The Bommarito Automotive Group is your number one choice for all your automotive needs for over 51 years. They've sold over 1 million vehicles by giving you a better price, a better selection, and more for your trade. You can shop them online, see their entire inventory of over 12,000 vehicles, and more at Bommarito.com.
And welcome back. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. We've already chatted with Bob O'Loughlin and Joe Valmer from Milo's. A little bit later, we'll talk with Andy Shifter from Hats and Stuff. A little bit of news here in the St. Louis area. William Clay, Missouri's first black congressman and a St. Louis civil rights leader, has died at the age of 94. He represented parts of the St. Louis area in Congress for more than 30 years, and his son Lacey Clay succeeded him. And I think he did like 10 terms. So our thoughts and prayers are with the Clay family. He did a lot for St. Louis.
And also nationally, he was a very prominent civil rights leader in the 1960s, knew Martin Luther King as well. And he was the one of the people who helped establish the Congressional Black Caucus and moved into some pretty high ranking for his time, one of the highest ranking black members of Congress in some of the high-ranking committees, which many people credit with helping to wield some influence for the St. Louis region by having those high-profile committee positions as well.
All those politicians would go to chemos on Grand Avenue, Jet Banks, the Bosleys, Freeman Bosley, and I remember like bussing some of their tables when I was a kid. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, and he made it to age 94. That's pretty a life well lived to have been in part of it and in public service for much of it as well. May he rest in peace, and our condolences go out to his family members as well.
Somebody texting and watching Landman now, 4 episodes in, and it's really good. Yes, it really is.
Yeah, I followed that recommendation from you, and it was one of those ones that John and I enjoyed watching together. It's not PG. I mean, so there's some of it I thought was a little bit gratuitous, I have to admit.
Senseless nudity scenes. Like, why is that? It's a little crazy. And, yeah, like his wife and his daughter in it, they're just, all they're there for is for
eye candy. You have to watch Lioness if you want to see a strong female character who has more meaningful role. And I did think they did a really good job of character development, though, on some kind of the side characters. Would you agree that some of the, like Billy Bob's son? I mean, that whole plot arc was pretty compelling.
Good. There's really, I don't think anything like smoking hot right now in terms of series, unless I'm missing something, and I'd love to hear.
You were obsessed with Waterfront.
Yeah, Waterfront was great.
How would you compare that to Landman for somebody who's considering watching one or the other?
Oh, that's almost like, to use the LaRussa vernacular, probably tied for first. So,
really?
Yeah.
You
didn't like Waterfront as much?
I like it. I'm 3 episodes in.
Well, I got to say this. It gets better.
Okay.
It does.
To your point, you like it because you also liked the Dallas and the Dynasty. And to me, it has more of that contrived. I bought into Landman. I forgot that Billy Bob Thornton was not really in the oil business as a fixer pretty early in that. And I'm watching these characters play the roles in a more, I don't know, hyperbolic way that doesn't feel quite as genuine.
Somebody with a great text. Landman too trashy, the daughter's too much. Yeah. I don't disagree with that analysis.
But, I'm going to stick with Waterfront because it sounds, I believe you when you say it gets better and better and better. And you were watching Department Q. Did you stick with that, or did it get too dark?
Yeah, I have not. I've only watched 1 episode. I think I'm out, but there's really nothing great on. I will recommend, if you have ESPN Plus, Southpaw, the story of Jim Abbott, who was born with one hand, and he threw a no-hitter at Yankee Stadium. It is really thoughtful and really well done.
Yeah, very well done. Speaking of well done, Capital Advisory Group, our friend Jeff Zufall, he does a great job in the show he does every weekend here that you can hear on Saturday with our own Josh Gilbert. Keep What's Yours, the title of his best-selling book. He does a really great job at taking care of so many of our listeners, helping them to have a nest egg in retirement so they can feel confident and live the life they want to live in that season of life. And he does it from a tax-informed wealth strategy perspective, which means he knows taxes like no one else. He understands the tax laws, and he wants to make sure that you're not overpaying on taxes, which will severely impact your bottom line in retirement. Capital Advisory, grp.com, 636-394-5524. Andy from Hats and Stuff joins us next, right after these messages.
It's Julie Buck here to tell you that the patio is open at Bishop's Post right next to Chesterfield Mall. Get your reservations in now and go to Bishop's Post. You will love it. Tell them Julie Buck sent you, bishopspost.com.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
St. Louis is home to more than 80,000 University of Missouri, St. Louis alumni, where they drive the region's economy and contribute to its social and cultural well-being. At UMSOL, more is what moves us. Find your more at more.umsl.edu.
Save at HW Kia. New Kia K4 LXS, $19,995 with any trade. Save on every new HW Kia, like the 25 Kia Sportage EX, just $219 a month lease, or Carnival EX, just $419 a month with a zero security deposit. HWKia.com. On approved credit, not all will qualify. Plus tax, title, license, at 587 title and registration processing fee. Negative equity, refinanced and new loan. Rebates and incentives to dealer. 24 months, 10,000-mile lease. $65.95 due. Offers not in combination. Expires 7/6/25. Get to HW Kia, because if you're stuck in a loan or lease, Big D the trade man will get you released. Up to 120% over KBB fair market value for any trade. Have a job clearing $450 per week at HW Kia. You're practically approved. First-time buyers, past repossessions. Even if you've had a bankruptcy, we finance your future, not your past. HWKia.com. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Plus tax, title, license, and 587 title and registration processing fee. Negative equity, refinanced.
When it comes to mortgage lenders, I know you have no shortage of options. But are you working with someone local who can truly simplify the process? I'm David Goldberg with the Goldberg Group. And as a St. Louis home purchase expert, I know this market inside and out. I specialize in tough-to-complete situations for borrowers who are self-employed, looking to buy and sell at the same time, and may have been turned down somewhere else. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or seasoned homeowner, you can trust me with all of your home financing needs. Call or text me at 314-471-4030. 314-471-4030.
Hey, it's John Carney. A lot of conversations with the folks over at Allen Roofing, pretty much asking advice, because I know a lot of people got smacked by that storm, and he had some great advice for people to think about. First off, be careful of who you talk to when you're going to get some work done. Make sure there's an agreement, and the scope of work is laid out in that contract. Also, as you can imagine, a lot of contractors are busy. Give them some time, and you know what? Allen Roofing will come put a tarp on your roof at no charge, even if you don't use them when you get the roof repaired. Also, check the Better Business Bureau, see what the reviews are for contractors that you deal with, and also remember, insurance companies allow up to an entire year from the date of loss to file a claim. So you've got time to get those repairs done and that replacement done. Don't rush it. Just a few tips from the people that know roofing and repairs better than anyone. It's Allen Roofing, online at aroofing.net.
Good tune. Connor McCarthy, as usual. Jill Farmer, Frank Cusimano, Frank and Jill Show. And it's always fun when we get to sit down with one of our friends. And, of course, Andy Shifter from Hats and Stuff is our friend. We get to see you as we're coming and going from the station every day. And it's really fun to have you on the show today. We're going to talk a little bit about some important things you're doing to make Christmas in July really successful this year. But you've been in the fashion world and in this apparel business for 50 years now.
That's correct. I started when I was 2, amazingly enough. But no, I was with Fashion Gal stores, for those that remember Fashion Gal back in the day. Sure, for 20 years. And then I started my business in October 1 of 1995. So we're coming up on 30 years for my own business, Hats and Stuff. And we've had a great run so far, and hopefully we'll go on, for a little bit more after this.
You pack a lot of things in that store. Have you ever, like right now, like how many items do you think you have roughly?
Roughly, I would say probably, items, there's probably 20 to 30,000 items,
wow.
Units, in that store. And my dad always said, you can't sell what you don't have, which can get you in trouble sometimes because I love to buy a good deal. And so when I see it, even if I'm up to my eyeballs in merchandise, I will still buy a good deal because a good deal will always sell.
What sells more right now, Cardinals or City SC?
Oh, clearly the Cardinals. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals had a nice little resurgence this year from what expectations were. City SC is struggling a little bit to kind of get their foothold, so I haven't been buying as much City SC.
Did City SC outsell the Cardinals that first year?
Absolutely. And not only the first year they played, but the year before when we first started getting merchandise, we were loaded, and I bought into it, and people responded online and everything, and it was a tremendous bump for those first 2 years. And then last year was tough, and this year's again tough, but last week when they were in town again on Sunday, people came by on Sunday and bought a bunch of gear for City. So it's kind of an as-needed basis, but if they have something in the closet, they don't always necessarily have to buy something new because they have something already.
Right. Well, the culture is for those games, you want to be decked out when you go in City gear.
Yeah.
So I think you sort of answered the question, but I've always thought the thing that made you guys stand out is your prices are for that sports merchandise and for St. Louis sports teams or whatever your college team is as well. It's so much lower price than everybody else's. How do you do that?
It's in the buy. I have over 30 years of doing this, or actually 50, but 30 years of doing specifically sports merchandise. I have a tremendous relationship with the manufacturers. So they're just as happy to sell me 500 of something as they are anybody else, but I scour their inventories every day, and when I see a good deal, we negotiate a price, I get it in, I pass that savings on to the customer, and they recognize it. Where there's some hats that might be $30 or $40 in other stores, I'm at $19.99. Now, I also work sometimes on shorter markup margins, and so that I may not make as much, but I sell a lot more than most when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, I've bought 2 City SC caps from you, and they're fitted caps. I like the fact that you have the fitted caps. I know the adjustable are more popular, probably more practical, but if you get the right fitted cap, that's the way to go.
Absolutely, and what you got was the Flex Fit, which is about as comfortable a hat as you can be. So it kind of moves with, if your head's in between sizes, you don't have to worry about that with a Flex Fit. It'll accommodate that. So whether it's Cardinals or Blues or City, I sell a lot of Flex Fit caps, adjustable caps, and then the regular old school fitted caps. And so we cover all the bases, and again, the prices are really outstanding.
So you're here on the second floor, right by the KTRS studios across from the Drunken Fish. And then you're also at the Soulard Market. I'm a semi-regular visitor there as well. You have a great presence there. And I remember we had international guests in a few years ago, and we brought them down. I swear they bought out half of your inventory because they couldn't believe the prices as well. Why the commitment there for all these years?
At first, when I started going down the Soulard 27 years ago, it was really just to supplement buying the inventory, to buy more inventory, supplement the money, excuse me. And then all of a sudden it kept growing and growing. And if it was 5 days a week, it would be its own business by itself. But the business that I do every Saturday is fantastic and worthwhile, and it's not only just for the business, but it's a culture. I've seen people that were babies that are now having their own babies, and people that have passed, or people that have gotten married, and all the family thing. And to me, that's a big deal, and so that's why I love it down there.
And in your history, what athlete do you think has sold you the most? Would it be Yachty? No, Albert.
Albert.
Okay.
I think Albert, number one. But at the time, Mark McGwire's stuff was, because at that point there was nothing else really to glom onto for baseball, because it was kind of a lousy year.
Yeah,
but
they brought it
he
back.
and Sosa, and we would sell posters and pictures and jerseys and T-shirts and anything with McGwire, baseballs at the time with the 500 baseball and all that. So I'd say McGwire, Yachty, and Albert were probably the 3.
And are you headed to Shavitz for any pickleball this weekend?
I am most assuredly going on Sunday. Yeah, I'm going to go to the final day because I work on Saturday at the Soulard Market, and Friday I'm here at the store. I my coach Kim Willie, I had my lesson, my Thursday morning lesson. She's on the Shock, so she'll be sitting on the bench, rooting them on Sunday, and I'll be somewhere in the stands rooting the whole team on. It's a fantastic thing.
And we can't let you go without talking about what an incredible supporter you are of the Salvation Army, and specifically our Christmas in July initiative as well. And you have a great you love supporting the community. You do so much, Andy, for so many different things in our community. Why does the Salvation Army matter to you, first of all, and then what are you doing for customers to help them contribute to this?
Great question. We obviously on the May 16th tornado created a lot of problems for a lot of people that ultimately ended up with nothing. And so that's part of what they do, part of what I do. And so what I'm going to do is to offer anybody that comes into my store a 20% discount on the item that they want to contribute to the box that's in my store, so that if we have a $10 hat, it'll cost you $8, and you just put it in the box, and I'll say thank you, give you a hug if you want.
Great holiday gift for a kid in our area.
Yeah, while I don't have toys per se, I have a lot of things that people still need. T-shirts. People need clothing. They lost everything. I do have a bat and ball set for $10. I have these cute little speakers, which you've seen playing music out in front of my store at $10. I have probably tens of thousands of items that are $10 and less that you can come in and pay $8 for it, do your thing, and put it in the box. And I'll say thank you, and Salvation Army will say thank you, KTRS will say thank you, and that's part of what we do for the community.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure, guys.
So fun. What a great show today. Tomorrow, of course, tell us, we've got a couple of really great guests.
We'll have Lynn talking movies, and we hope to hook up with Scott Spezio, former October hero for the Cardinals, who was in town last night for the Tony La Russa function.
And he's got an incredible backstory.
He does. He's overcome a lot, and he's doing well. He's still standing, as Elton John would say.
Great show, you guys. Thanks so much for being with us. As always, come visit Andy at Hats and Stuff. Wave at us when you go by the studios. Make it a great 24 hours. Julie Buck, Randy Naughton up next, along with Max Foisey. And then, of course, Josh, Bob, and Heidi a little bit later. Keep your dial right here.